Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Coding Gigs. So in the last two videos we have studied about what is flowcharts. Okay, so what are the components of flowchart, why do we use flowcharts, what are the use cases of flowcharts. Okay, and in the last video we have studied about the components, we have revised the components of the flowcharts, as well as we have solved two practice problems, and I have been given you one assignment to solve. So I hope that you all have solved the problem, and if you have got stuck, I request you to just go through the comment section, and I have dropped the solution in the comment section and you can refer that notes. And in the I icon tab, I'll just add those two previous videos so that you can get some knowledge about flowcharts before starting with the next lecture. And today we are going to start with Introduction to C++, and from today onwards we are going to learn what exactly C++ code looks like, how are we going to write the code in C++ programming language. So let's start the video. Yeah, okay. So as you can see in my screen, here you can see there's a piece of code, something there is written, right? There are total 10 lines of code, and here it is written hashtag include iostream using namespace std. Okay, there is some semicolon, and in the fourth line you can see something there is written as int main. So we will dive into each and every words. We'll understand why do we write this structure in C++ programming, why it is necessary to write these words one by one. Okay, so this is the basic C++ syntax. Okay, so whenever you write a code in C++ programming, you need to include this boilerplate. Okay, so this is a basic structure. So now the first thing in line 1, if you see here, it is written as hashtag include an iostream. Now what does this line mean? This means that you are including a header file. I repeat, you are including a header file in your C++ programming language. Okay, so here hashtag include, it is a preprocessor directive. It is called as a preprocessor directive, and here inside this iostream, whatever we have written, this is the header file. Now what is header file? Why do we require header files in C++ or any other programming language? Because whenever we use some kind of functions, or you can say variables or numbers, you need to explain the computer that yes, we are using a C++ language in order to run the code, because the computer is a dumb language. The computer cannot understand any language except zeros and ones, which we call it as a binary language. So as now we are speaking in English language, so we are communicating in a language which we are well versed. Okay, so you can understand the English language, I can understand the English language. Whatever I am saying, you are able to reciprocate, you are able to understand the language and understand the concept. But in case of computer, this is something very kind of opposite thing. Okay, the computer doesn't understand the English language, whatever we are trying to speak or whatever we type in the keyboard. The computer first converts our English language into a machine code, which is called as in zeros and ones combination. Okay, and then it does some kind of computation. Okay, after doing some kind of computation, some kind of calculation, logical calculation, it comes with a conclusion, with a solution, and provides us to the output screen, whatever we see. Okay, so that is why header files are very important to include in C++ language. Okay, it contains all kinds of basic syntax. Why are we declaring a variable? Why are we using a particular function? So these are some concepts in C++ which we will learn in later on videos. Just remember that it is very necessary to include a header file. Header file contains some kind of bunch of code which is already written by some programmers. Okay, and those bunch of code contains some functionalities that we are already using it in a C++ language, such as we have cin. You can see over here there is a word written as cout. So this everything, if you want to use all these functionalities, the cout language is used to print the output in the screen. So this is a kind of functionality. Okay, so programmers of C++, they have already written some code in order to function, or in order to operate this functionality, so in order to use it. So how do we use? We just simply import the header files in C++. So this is what we say in line number 1, and the hashtag which we use is called as a macros. Okay, hashtag include is a preprocessor directive. The hashtag symbol is called as macros in programming language, and this is a header file known as IOStream. What does IOStream means? IOStream is a header file which is called as input output stream, which means that what the user is taking as an input, okay, the taking as an input, and what the language programming C++ language is actually providing as a output in the screen. So we use cin, cout, okay, then various kinds of functions which are already present in input output stream, right? So now in the next line you can see here it is written as using namespace std. So these two lines are very necessary whenever we write programming whenever we use C++ programming language. So these two lines are very compulsory whenever we use it. Okay, so in the next line here it is written as using namespace std, which means that what kind of input and output we are actually using in our C++ is specified by this namespace, and std is the standard library which contains all kinds of functions such as cin, cout, and later on we'll see in the later on videos different kinds of concepts which are included in the standard library. Okay, so next in the fourth line here it is written as int main, and there is some round brackets. Okay, so int main means that whenever, always remember, whenever our C++ language is been executed by the compiler, every time the program begins with the main function. So this is the main function. Okay, so this is a function. There is a separate concept known as functions which we will learn in the later on videos. Just remember that our programming C++ program begins to execute from the main function. Okay, so this is that main function, and the return type of this main function is integer. That also we will study in the later on videos. Just remember this is the return type of the main function, which is integer and which is abbreviated or used as a keyword as int. Okay, and then here we have the curly braces. So inside this braces we write the n number of lines of code, okay, in C++ language. Okay, and in the seventh line we have a line written as hello world, which means cout hello world, and then nl, okay, we pronounce it as nl, and there is a semicolon. Okay, so this line it states that hello world will be printed as a sentence in your output screen. Okay, so for the in order to print the hello world, we use this cout as a function which is already been included in this header file. And then we have return 0, which specifies that our program has been successfully executed. That is why we have written return 0. It is optional, you can write return zeros or you cannot write it. That's up to you. Okay, so I'll just show you in my GDB compiler. Now this is also the same thing. If I run this code, you'll get the same answer, hello world. But if you carefully look in this structure, C++ structure, and the C++ structure which I have mentioned in my presentation is a little bit different. If you see, one second, there is a difference. Here we have included using namespace std, and the compiler which I am using is online GDB compiler, where here we have not used any kind of using namespace std. Now why? This is the alternative approach. This code is an alternative approach of writing this. Okay, so here we have written std, then there is 2 colons and then cout. So if I don't mention this line number 2 over here, every time whenever I am taking some input or if I am printing something on my screen as an output, I have to specify this part every time. So in order to avoid this, what I do is I remove that std part and I include this line, so that every time I don't have to specify that std colon cout. Okay, that's why. Now always remember that every line is terminated with a semicolon. If you don't add semicolon, you are going to get an error. As you can see here, they have said expected a semicolon before return. Before return statement, they are expecting a semicolon. And now if I run the program, you will get a hello world as a output, right? So that was all about how do we exactly, the first thing we have just did is the C++ programming of printing a hello world. So I just give you a small congratulations that this was your first line of code which you have written in C++ language. Congrats. So now let's move on to the next slide. So here you can see this was a description which I've already explained in my previous part, previous of the slide. So this is the next slide is the explanation of the previous slide. So just let's go through with it. So here it is written as C++ begins with the inclusion of header files. So this is the header file which we are talking about. Next, it hashtag include. It is a directive which we call it as a preprocessor directive, and the hashtag symbol is known as macros. Okay, so this is the basic structure which we use in C++ language, and this IO stream is called as input output string, which contains cin that takes input and cout that prints the output. Then always the C++ program begins from the main function. It is executed from the main function, and this is how it looks. Okay, so now we have studied what is the exact boilerplate of the C++ programming language, what are the each and every element which we have used in C++ language, what does exactly it means. Okay, why do we use header files? Because see, header files is very necessary. We cannot simply tell the compiler that just write the program as like this, x is equals to 24. Now the programmer will have a question mark in the mind ki what exactly are you telling me? What is x is equals to 25? You just have to actually explain, briefly explain him ki x is equals to 25, what does it mean? What kind of integer, what kind of data type are we exactly storing? What does this variable mean? So in order to specify everything, this header file, it actually helps you to specify that what are we exactly doing. Before that we need to declare this int x is equals to 25. That's why we use header files. So nothing we are getting printed because we are not printing out the variable name. So now if I type, you're going to get the answer as 25. See, and one more thing, if you want to begin your next your code into the next line, you just need to specify endl, which means that end of the line. You need to move to the next line, right? And always end your line with the semicolon. So now we are going to study about how do we declare a variable in C++ language. So the main syntax is data type variable name equal to value. So this is how do we the basic syntax of how we actually declare a variable. So example is int a is equals to 10, which means that your name of the variable is a, which is storing the value 10, and the value 10 is a type, data type is integer. This is the meaning of the line, right? So there are various types of data types in C++ language. Few of them are listed over below. So first is int, which is known as integer value. Float, which is the decimal value, which includes decimal value, that is point values like 4.5, 2.3. So those are the float type of data type. And then we have bool. So bool is like boolean, which provides you the answer in terms of true or false. Okay, if a condition is given to you, okay, and if the answer of that particular condition is in terms of true or false or yes or no, then we use the data type known as bool. And char means in order to use a single character, okay, or a special character which is enclosed in a single quotation mark, that is called as char. Then we have long, which is integer value with the larger size, and similarly short, which is the smaller size. So I'll just show you a practical implementation of this also. Like first one is already understood by you, which is integer. Let me just zoom in this part. So as I was saying, yeah, my screen recording is going on, right? Okay, so as I was saying, let me just zoom the screen a little bit. Yeah, I hope the screen is visible, or else it's okay. So first one is already understood, which is integer type. We have already done. The next one is float. So I'll just do this part. So float, let's say I keep the name of the variable as b is equals to 2.5. Okay, and then if I print the value of b, you will get the answer. See, 2.5. So for the next line, to specify it neatly, I'll just write it as 2.5. Okay, next one is boolean. So boolean, how do we do it? Bool, let's say answer is equals to true. If I specify this and if I see out bool, hopefully it should execute, it should get executed. Let's see. Okay, so we are getting as one answer. So always remember that if you're getting answer as 1 in whenever you're using boolean, and if you're getting as answer 1, which means that it specifies the condition is true, and if you get answer as false, you will get the output in the screen as 0. So 0 stands for false and 1 stands for true. So that's how we use. And then we have char. Okay, so how do we represent char? Char as let's say v. Okay, and the variable, here we use the single quotation mark, and if I execute this, this is going to give me an answer. So we are not printing anything, that's why we are not getting the answer of this. Otherwise you can also print it. So that's how we declare a variable. How do we declare? We specify the data type, the name of the variable, and then equal to and the value. So variable is kind of a container which stores some particular value. Okay, so we need to specify the type of the variable that we are using. So everything has been included in this IOStream header file. After this, here we have some quick note that we need to keep in mind, that is the size of the data type. Okay, so integer ka size is 4 bytes, float 8 bytes, bool 1 byte, char is also 1 byte. Okay, and similarly long and short also you can Google it off. So first point you need to keep in mind is 1 byte is equals to 8 bits of zeros and ones. Okay, so what does this 4 byte means? It means 32 bits, because 4 into 8 is equals to 32 bits of combination of zeros and ones is the actual memory which has been allotted to, or storage has been allotted to integer type, data type. Okay, and yes, similarly for 8 also it would be 64 bits, combination of zeros and ones it would be there, and 1 byte is equals to 8 bits. Next, these are some rules that we need to keep in mind, that is rules of declaring a variable. So you cannot begin with a number. Whenever you declare a variable, you cannot simply write it as int, let's say 1 is equals to 1. This is going to give you an error because you cannot start with a number. Or even if you write 1a, okay, this is also not a valid variable name. Here also you are going to get an error, if you can clearly see in my output screen, right? Next, okay, so we were here, rules. Okay, so next is spaces and special character are not allowed except underscore. So suppose if I put a space and then I write, will my code get executed? No. So that's why spaces and special characters are not allowed. If you want to put a space, just provide an underscore. Underscore is allowed, but not this one. You need to write underscore a, then only it will get executed. You can see. Next is C++ keywords must not be used as a variable name. If I clearly present the screen, you can see C++ keywords must not be used as a variable name. What are the keywords? See, this is a keyword. Integer is a keyword. This is already a word which has been used by C++. This has been resolved. Now this word has some kind of functionalities. You are using this functionality. You cannot use this functionality name as a variable name because it will create a kind of confusion between the compiler and while executing it. Okay. So next is C++ is case sensitive, which means that if you're writing int a is equals to 24 and int capital A is equals to 25. So these two terms are different because A is a separate container which has been created, which is storing the value 24, and capital A is also a separate container which will store the value of 25 as an answer. So this has a different address, small a has a different address, and capital A has a different address. Okay, so this was the rules of declaring a variable name. Okay, so size is done, rules is done. So now let's move on to the next thing. This is types of operators. So we have two types of operator. One is arithmetic operator, next we have logical operator, and next we have relational operator. What are arithmetic operators? Arithmetic operators are plus, minus, multiplication, division, modulo operator. What does plus mean? Plus means simple addition. Two operands will be given. This 4 and 2 are called as operands, and plus is called as operator. This will perform an operation known as summation, and this will provide you the result. So you need to declare two variable name. Let's say int a is equals to 4 and int b is equals to 2, and declare another variable in sum. You're going to do the summation and see out sum. You're going to get answer as 6. Let's see. So I have made a mistake. Yeah, already a has been declared, that's why. So let's say a1, b1 and b1. Let's see now. See, you're getting answer as 06 by 06 because here I haven't given a endl. That's why you're getting an answer as 06. Otherwise it would be 6 only. See, 6. This was the answer of that false wala part. Okay. So see out sum. So how do we typically take input from the user? We know how to print in C++ using cout. Do we know how to take input? No, right? So int a, I have declared a variable. I need to take the input of or you can say value of a from the user, right? So cin a, and then cout value given by you is, and print the value of a. Go to the next line endl and end it with the semicolon. Let's see. Asking for the value, I'll give it as 45. So value given by you is 45. That's how we take the input also. So we know how to take input. Similarly, just the way I have shown you the summation, you can try for the subtraction also. Multiplication, division. Now what is this? This is a modulus operator, which means that when two numbers are being divided, the remainder that you get, that particular number, is called as the modulo, is the remainder. That is how you get the modulus. So 5 divided by 2. So if you divide 2 by 5, you're going to get the output, the output or the remainder as 1. Why 1? Because 2 divided by 2, your quotient will be 2. And 4, 2 into 2, which is 4. So 5 minus 4 is 1, right? So the 1, which is the remainder, is been given by this modulus operator. Okay. So next is logical operator. So logical operator means you already know the truth table of AND gate, which we have studied in 11th, 12th standard, right? Which means that until and unless you have two conditions which is true, you're going to get the answer as true. If one is true, one is false, you're going to get the answer as false. Which means that until and unless two conditions satisfies, you're not going to get the answer, or your answer is not going to be true. That is how logical operator AND is been performed. Which means that 5 is less than 2. Yes, 5 is less than 2. No, right. 5 is not less than 2. It is greater. So this condition is been getting false. This is false and this is true. 5 is greater than 2. 5 is greater than 3. That's why you are getting the answer as false, because one of the condition fails. Okay. So if suppose agar aise hota ki 5 is greater than 2 and 5 is greater than 3, then the answer would have been true. Okay. Then we have OR condition, means any of this condition is true, you will get the answer as true. See, here this condition fails, but this is true. At least this is true. That's why you're getting the answer as true. And here this is the NOT condition, which means exact opposite. Opposite ka answer will be provided to you. Like 5 is less than 2, which gives you the answer as false. But since you are using the logical NOT, opposite of false is true. That's why you are getting the result as true. Next we have relational operators. So relational operators mein we have less than sign, greater than sign, less than equal to, greater than equal to, not equal to. So this is very familiar by you. Whenever we are using some if condition. So this will be also explained to you in the later on concept where we use if else statements, if statement, okay, then nested if. So all this will require a particular condition, and in that condition you need to use these relational operators. You need to check some conditions. So for that we use less than, greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to. So this is familiar by you. Now what is equal to? Which means that you're checking whether this value 5 is actually equal to 2 or not. This is not equal to, right? If that's why we are getting the answer as false. If here it would have been 2 equal to 2. This is the correct answer, right? 2 is actually equal to 2. That's why you will get the answer as true. And here not equal to, which means that 5 is actually not equal to 2. The condition is satisfied. That's why you're getting the answer as true. So we will see all this operator practical implementation in the later on videos. So I hope that you have understood today's concept. We started with our first line of, we have written as hello world. We have understood what is the exact meaning of all the lines which we write in C++, right? We have seen how do we declare a variable, okay, what are the different data types of variable. We have also seen the size of data type in today's video. We have seen how do we exactly write the variable name, what are the rules of writing the variable name. Okay, then we have seen a brief overview of types of operator. We will see each of the operators functionality in the online GDP or by writing a code in the later on video. So keep learning, stay motivated, and thank you for watching. Bye.